All right, I want to get on a serious topic here real quick, and I know it's a Friday, but I want to hit on this because we've been talking about this issue for quite some time, and that is how large metro police departments and even small rural towns are having trouble finding police officers. Houston Police Department, short as many as 2,000 officers, nation's fourth largest city. You take 5,170 officers serving some 2.4 million people. They need like 350 new officers per year to maintain that number due to attrition. So why is it so difficult? And I think this is self-explanatory as to why we are having a tough time filling the roles of police, departments all over the United States. Dr. Alex Del Carmen joined me right now. He heads up the School of Criminology, Criminal Justice, and Strategic Studies at Tarleton State University in Fort Worth. Doctor, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so it's not a good time to be a police officer. I mean, let's be honest. They're targets now. We see police officers being shot just because they're police officers. On top of that, if you go to make an arrest and all of a sudden there's a cell phone involved, and no matter if you're in the right or the wrong, once that thing goes viral, your life can be changed forever in a very negative way. So is it really shocking to you that not a lot of people are getting in line to do this job now?
Right, not really. And then when you add to that the factors that, social media is just obviously portraying a very negative image of police officers. You've got a very competitive workforce in millennials that they're, very aware of what their job opportunities are across the globe. And I mean, it's not a surprise to any of us that law enforcement is diminishing in terms of numbers and as well as popularity.
So how do you solve this problem? What's the answer?
Well, the answer is a combination of factors, right? So law enforcement agencies that are truly at a disadvantage are small municipalities that cannot really compete against, the big law enforcement agencies that promise to pay more and promote quicker. But so I think, a lot of it has to do with the type of chief of police and the type of budget that the city has and whether or not they can really reach out to true talent out there, people that are going to be good police officers there. So I think it's a multilateral campaign. Many agencies are using social media as a means to convince people that a career in law enforcement is not a bad thing, that it's really a good career, that is has got solid promise for promotion, and that the money is not as bad as people say it is. So, but a lot of it has to do with a media campaign that unfortunately is against the law enforcement side.
Talking to law enforcement specialist Dr. Alex Del Carmen. He is out of Fort Worth, Texas. Doctor, I have buddies who are cops, and I've talked to them about it, and they say, it's just not worth it anymore. And they love being a cop, and they're like, it's just not worth it. The lack of respect you get as an officer now, the situations you could find yourself in. I know a couple guys that said they're looking to get out of being a police officer, and they loved being police officers. That's got to be disheartening for you to hear, right?
It is, and we also see at our universities that many individuals that they have to wait till they get to be 21 years of age in most cities in the United States for them to become police officers. And so while they're waiting, many of them are getting their education. So by the time they get to be 21, they're a few months away from having a bachelor's degree. And at that point, they're looking at the possibility of going in federal versus local. And the decision is already pretty much made for them that they would rather go federal than get paid more money and have the greater possibility of getting promoted, as opposed to going to a local law enforcement agency where they're going to be scrutinized. A
lot of veteran officers, too, are retiring faster than departments could fill vacancies, Doctor. This is another huge issue.
That's right. And what we're seeing also is that, you've got the millennial factor coming into the workforce, and you also have the baby boomer factor getting out of the workforce. So many of the law enforcement officers that have been there for 30, 40 years are now looking at retiring. And quite honestly, we're losing a lot of experienced police officers for younger folks that are not going to be mentored nearly as well as they were 30, 40 years ago. So it's truly right now, we are at a turning point in law enforcement throughout the United States, looking at in different directions as to where it is that we're going to find the right answer for what is likely going to be the tsunami of problems in the next 10 to 20 years.
Talking to Dr. Alex Del Carmen right now. He heads up the School of Criminology, Criminal Justice, Strategic Studies at Tarleton State University in Fort Worth. Doctor, what about getting or recruiting more minorities to be police officers, too? This was a hot topic, but when you have a lot of minorities, from a young age, growing up skeptical of law enforcement, you have incidents which some of them back up their skepticism. How do we get a more diversified police force when you're fighting that kind of PR campaign?
Yeah, it's very hard. And many police departments, they go to historically, black universities and colleges. They go to universities and colleges that have predominance of Hispanics, and they try to recruit minorities by going to these folks. But I tell you, you're right. The negativity of the press, the fact that many minority young men and women are looking at other careers as options, and the fact is that law enforcement is not the only one that finds itself in need of being able to recruit minorities. I mean, a lot of the private industry folks, a lot of the federal agencies are doing the same, and they're offering more money. They're offering, a better type of life and a lot more flexibility in terms of their schedule. So for a lot of folks looking for a job, it's not rocket science that they're going to end up working for a federal agency versus a local agency as well.
Doctor, appreciate the insight. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
All right, that's Dr. Alex Del Carmen, law enforcement specialist.